Okay, let's be real for a second. We're all thinking about the year ahead, setting big goals, and if we're honest, probably getting ready to fail at them. But what if the problem isn't you? What if it's the entire game plan you've been sold? Today, we're tearing up that old blueprint and looking at a totally new way to build a life that actually changes. If you're tired of that same old cycle of hype and disappointment, you're going to want to stick around.
So let's just kick things off with a number that is, well, it's kind of depressing, but it's important. 91%. That's the percentage of people who fail to keep their New Year's resolutions for the whole year. 91. If that sounds painfully familiar, trust me, you are in very, very good company.
But here's the big twist, the key insight we're exploring today, which comes from the thinker Chris Williamson. The problem isn't you. It's not some deep personal failing. It's not a lack of willpower. No, it's the entire approach. It is the blueprint itself that is fundamentally broken.
So let's dive into that. Why that insane 91% failure rate? What is it about our best intentions that just seems to crumble? Well, it turns out the whole way we're taught to set goals is basically designed to trip us up. Let's break down exactly where it all goes wrong.
This quote right here from Chris Williamson just absolutely nails the very first mistake we all make. We get way too ambitious. We think, new year, new me. I'm going to change everything. But the truth is, you can change anything, but you can't change everything, at least not all at once. You've got to pick your battles.
So Williamson identifies these three big traps. First, you've got the buffet plate problem. We just pile on way too many goals. Then there's the motivation myth. We think that initial burst of enthusiasm is going to last forever. Spoiler, it won't. It's a fuel source you have zero control over. And finally, my favorite, the addition fallacy. We only ever think about all the new things we're going to start doing without ever considering what we need to stop doing to make room.
Okay, so if the old way is totally busted, where do we even begin? Well, the answer isn't a new to-do list or a fancy productivity app. The solution starts with just asking better questions. We have to look inward first to find a direction that actually makes sense.
But before we even get to the questions, we have to talk about this huge mental block that trips up so many driven people. It's called productivity dysmorphia. You know that feeling? It's that nagging voice in your head that tells you you're always behind, no matter how much you get done. It completely robs you of the ability to see and celebrate your own wins.
All right, here's the first game-changing question. I want you to try this. Just step outside of yourself for a minute. Picture your life as a movie. What would the audience, the people watching, be yelling at the screen? What's the obvious next move that you're just too close to see? It's amazing how clear the right path can be when you get that outside perspective.
Now for a question that's going to sound a little dark, but trust me on this, it is brilliant. Ask yourself, if I wanted to guarantee that my 85-year-old self was as miserable as humanly possible, what would I do every single day? Write it down. The scary part? You'll probably realize you're already doing a few of those things. It's such a powerful way to see the habits you need to cut out, right now.
And finally, here's the question that brings everything into focus. This one cuts through all the noise, all the BS. When you look back on this year, 12 months from now, what one or two things would have to happen for you to say, yeah, that was a success? It's probably not a laundry list of 20 items. It's usually just a couple of things that truly, deeply matter. So once you have that clarity, once you know what really matters, the next step is actually pretty simple, but it's the one we always forget. Subtraction. It's this wild idea that to actually achieve more, you often need to start by doing less.
Think of your time and your energy like a financial ledger. It's a zero-sum game. So for every new thing you want to add, every addition like running or reading more, you have to make a conscious subtraction. You have to decide what you're giving up. Maybe it's that hour of mindless Instagram scrolling or binge watching another series. You can't just keep adding, you have to make a trade.
And this right here is the absolute key. To pick something new up, you have to put something else down. The most powerful mental shift you can make is to just assume your capacity is already at 100%. Your plate is full. You can't add more food. You can only swap things out. That idea alone is a total game changer.
Okay, so we're focused, we're ready to subtract. But what do we actually focus on? The secret is to find those small, foundational habits. Think of them like the very first domino in a long line. The ones that when you knock them over, they take care of a whole bunch of other stuff automatically.
So you got to think about the return on investment, the ROI of your habits. Some things like giving up alcohol might be really high effort, but also give you a high return. But other things like this one, just not bringing your phone into your bedroom at night, that's incredibly low effort for a massive return in sleep quality and mental peace. Look for those low-effort, high-return dominoes first.
And let's be honest, sleep is the ultimate domino. It's the perfect example. You focus on fixing your sleep, you cut the late caffeine, you get the phone out of the bedroom. What happens? Well, you wake up with more energy. With more energy, you naturally make better decisions about food. You actually want to exercise. Suddenly, you have more willpower for everything else. It's the one habit that makes all the others easier.
So what happens when you slip up? Because you will. We all do. Here's the only rule you need to remember. Never miss twice. One missed day at the gym, that's just an error, it happens. But 2 missed days in a row, that's the beginning of a brand new bad habit. The goal isn't perfection, it's just getting back on the horse the very next day.
All right, we're at the final piece of the puzzle. And this one is maybe the deepest, the most profound part of this whole thing. It's about fundamentally redefining what success even means to you.
See, most of us spend our lives chasing what we could call observable metrics. The job title, the salary, the size of the house, stuff that other people can see and be impressed by. But in chasing those things, we so often sacrifice the hidden metrics, the things that only you can feel, your peace of mind, quality time with your family, your actual health.
This is all captured perfectly in the classic parable of the Mexican fisherman. The story goes, this American businessman is on vacation, and he sees a local fisherman who just works a few hours, catches a couple of fish, and then spends the rest of the day just chilling with his family and playing guitar. And the businessman, of course, sees all this untapped potential.
So he lays out this huge, complicated plan for the fisherman: how to buy more boats, build a cannery, create a massive fishing empire, work his butt off for decades, all so that one day he could finally retire and, what? Fish a little in the morning and spend the afternoon with your family. The irony is just crushing, right? He was already there.
And this leads to what Williamson calls the unteachable lesson. It's the idea that some truths just can't be learned from a book or a video. They have to be experienced. You can't fix an internal problem, a feeling of being empty or not enough, with an external prize. So often, you have to climb the entire ladder of success just to get to the top and realize, with horror, that it was leaning against the wrong wall the whole time.
So where does all this leave us? Well, maybe with this final liberating thought. We get so wrapped up in our goals, our failures, our self-improvement, but let's get some perspective. As Williamson says, stop taking it all so seriously. No one is getting out of this game alive. In the grand scheme of things, that perspective can be incredibly freeing. Which brings us to my final question for you. Forget for just a moment about all the new things you're planning to add to your life this year. Instead, let's reframe it. What is the one thing you are going to subtract, the one thing you're going to put down to finally make room for the life you actually want?